Farewell, Grumpy Cat, and more coming up on today's episode of the latest in tech news. Hey Gadgeteer, you're just in time for the latest episode of the world's only 3-in-1 show on tech, gadgets, and gaming news. That's right, this is latest in tech news. My name is Taylor American. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now so that you don't miss out on the latest episode, but hold off on the like button until you get to a part of the show that you actually like. Speaking of which, today's featured story might not be so much of a like button as it will be a sad button because, well, Grumpy Cat passed away. We'll also be taking a look at a stunning image made with pure code that is quite interesting depending on the browser that you look at it in. We'll also be taking a look at Spotify's first piece of hardware. You'd be kind of interested to know more about it. We'll be taking a look at how OnePlus is becoming more like Samsung and Apple. We'll also be looking at E3 2019 and the Xbox One games confirmed so far. In gaming news, we'll also be taking a look at Microsoft announcing Minecraft Earth, a Minecraft version of Pokemon Go, although the trailer could be a little bit... I'm not going to say anything more about that. And finally, we'll be taking a look at Call of Duty Mobile Beta coming this weekend to Android and iOS. But first, did you know that the founders Evan Spiegel, Reggie Brown Poster, and Bobby Murphy had tried 34 projects before coming up with the idea of Snapchat, originally named Peekaboo. They renamed it to Snapchat because it just went better. And also, did you know that 70% of people using Snapchat are female, leaving just 30% from the male population? Seems to be the same way on Pinterest as well. I don't know what's going on there. Nothing wrong about it. I like pictures. I think dudes just like watching videos and reading books, or Facebook and chatting with buddies or something. I don't know. Who knows? It's always different no matter how you look at it. So, all right, got that out of the way. Moving right along to today in tech history. Today is May 17th, 2019, and on this day in 1991, the first web server in history is set up by Tim Berners-Lee on a Next Cube at CERN, the European Particle Physics Laboratory in Geneva, Switzerland. The launch of this server is considered the public release of the World Wide Web. And also on this day in history, in 1943, the U.S. Army and University of Pennsylvania signed a contract to develop ENIAC. And for those of you wondering, well, what's ENIAC? Well, before your time, well, before my time, but I like learning about old computers as well. This was the Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, an early all-electronic computing system developed and built by the U.S. Army for its ballistics research laboratory. It was the first system to use vacuum tubes rather than electromagnetic twitches or switches, depending on how you're feeling that day. Its purpose was to calculate ballistic firing tables. ENIAC was designed by J. Presper Eckert and John William Malchi of the University of Pennsylvania. Constructed at that university's Moore School of Electrical Engineering when first commissioned, the computer was known as Project PX. It cost almost $500,000 at the time and involved a lot of people running back and forth to replace the vacuum cubes. I don't know, these round cylinder things that kept popping all the time. Unveiled on February 14th, 1946, it operated until November 9th, 1946. It was then refurbished, giving a memory upgrade, and transferred to the Aberdeen Proving Grounds, Maryland on 1947. On July 29th, it was turned on again and ran continuously until 1955, until all the transistors or vacuum cubes or some, I don't know, they probably just decommissioned it and then made way for better technology, because that's usually what happens. Innovation comes, brings in something new, and so there you have it, today in tech history. So let's move on to today's feature story. So this was posted today on the official Grumpy Cat Facebook page. It reads, "We are unimaginably heartbroken to announce the loss of our beloved Grumpy Cat. Despite care from top professionals as well as from her very loving family, Grumpy encountered complications from a recent urinary tract infection that unfortunately became too tough for her to overcome. She passed away peacefully on the morning of Tuesday, May 14th, at home in the arms of her mommy, Tabitha. Besides being our baby and a cherished member of the family, Grumpy Cat has helped millions of people smile all around the world, even when times were tough. Her spirit will continue to live on through her fans everywhere around the world. Grumpy's family, Tabitha, Brian, and Crystal. So, yeah, sad news today. So, if you guys want to leave a memorial or your comments or your favorite Grumpy Cat memes in the chat down below, you are more than welcome to do so, as well as on social media, our Facebook page, our Twitter page, or you can go head on over to Grumpy Cat's pages as well. Keep in mind, Grumpy Cat was only 7. And for being only 7, to be able to touch millions of lives through just simple pictures, incredible. Not only that, did you know that not only did she become a meme in and of herself, she had quite the following all along her social media profiles, as well as I believe she had a movie made about her, as well as either 1, possibly 2 or more books published. I think possibly stuffed animals and other merchandise too as well. Yeah, this became a worldwide phenomenon very, very quickly. To do that in 7 years, wow. But I was also talking to some other individuals, and yeah, I guess 7 years is a little bit too young for a cat. And, well, there's complications that happen with tract infections that when it happens in animals, it could get complicated very quickly. It just reminds me of my dog that I lost 3 years ago now ish, right around the month of May. It wasn't really great because he never really made it to his birthday. I think he was like a couple weeks shy of it. But yeah, rest in peace, Grumpy Cat. We will miss you, but your memes will live on forever thanks to the internet. And well, if you guys want to share any thoughts, any memes, like I said in the comments section, feel free to do so. We'll miss you, but yep, the memory will live on forever. And thank you for being there to, I don't know, cheer us up, even when times were tough. And they took a nice photo there of Grumpy Cat. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, you should really be watching the video over on youtube.com/TechNewsGadget. We got videos that go along with the whole entire show. So let's move on to our next story. Now, this story is a year old, but I didn't cover it because, well, I'm surprised nobody else covered it. This stunning image made with pure code is like a mood ring for your browser. Diana Smith's work is digital art on ultra hard mode. Now, we're looking at the photo right here, but it's a screen grab. I'll have a link to the actual file itself, and we'll be taking a look at it briefly here. But Diana Smith makes web images unlike any you've probably seen before. That's because when you're looking at one of the user interface designer's creations, you're not looking at a flat pixel data fetched from a server. You're looking at a pure coded page rendered live in front of your very eyes. Smith's pure CSS Francine, an elaborate code drawing in the style of an 1800s oil painting, caused web developers on Twitter to have a meltdown this week. Well, this week meaning last year. The work was not drawn with a tablet or a mouse, or even using illustration software. Instead, Smith coded every element by hand in HTML and CSS, computer languages that tell your browser how to display web pages. This means that there is no image file to save as a file when you view this on the web, but you can screenshot it or download the code and play around with it for yourself. So this is a really unique, quite incredible piece of art made with technology. See, because it's made of code that's telling a browser to do something, Francine can look very different when viewed in different browsers. When rendered in Netscape Navigator, for example, while Francine morphs into this. Interestingly enough, in an old version of Opera, well, it's definitely interesting there as well. Now, keep in mind, these browsers were made back in the day. They didn't anticipate that people would be making CSS art. It was just the internet where information lives, and all you need is some rectangle and maybe some color. Now, when you look at this image on different browsers, you're looking at a history of the internet and what was demanded of it at the time. Consider it a mood ring because of CSS Francine's shape-shifting nature. So, obviously, it's going to look fine on Chrome, and here, I'll show you it. We'll render it right now live. Boom. Here's Francine. Interesting, huh? Looks pretty nice. But look on it on different browsers of different versions, all the way back when up in the current. I guarantee you'll probably find something more than a little bit different with Francine, but kind of interesting. Like I said before, we will have a link to this image directly in the show notes. It's going to be, we're going to have it called Pure CSS Francine. You can go take a look at it and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And if you had any other goofy renderings of this, take a screenshot of it and send it our way. We'd love to be able to take a look and share it with the rest of everybody. All right, moving on to some gadget news. Spotify's first piece of hardware is a voice assistant for your car. Interesting. That's the name of Spotify's first voice-controlled plug-in smart device, Car Thing. In a blog post today, the music streaming company said that the device would play music and podcasts for a small group of invited Spotify premium users in the US. Spotify said it could also be joined by devices called Voice Thing and Home Thing. A company spokesperson wouldn't elaborate beyond the blog post, but The Verge found that the device will play through Bluetooth and plug into the car's cigarette lighter socket. You say, "Hey Spotify," to activate the device, which is connected to your account. Last year, word spread about a device that kind of sounds familiar, but it never materialized until now. Spotify said the device is just for testing purposes and that its streaming audio platform is its main focus, not hardware. Obviously, good call. Spotify faces a lot of competition when it comes to car audio. Google and Apple have infotainment systems that sync with users' phones already. Google recently announced Drive Mode for Android phones and third-party plug-in devices, and Amazon just unveiled Echo Auto. Now, a market research firm released findings last month that predicted 20 million cars will have a voice assistant built into the vehicle by 2023. And that's probably the main reason why Spotify is like, hey, most people probably listen to this in their car too, and they have their phone and they don't want to turn on Spotify in their car and then do this, that, and the other thing. Let's give them a hardware device to go along with it. Why not? I mean, I would. No, okay. I have Spotify, and here's the funny thing. With my car that I have, I can take my phone, Bluetooth it in already, and I can open up Spotify. But if it's voice controlled, might be a little bit more apt to plug the piece of hardware in as well. And I have the phone and the Bluetooth on, and then I could just say, "Hey Spotify, play." There you go. Perfect. Beautiful. And seeing as how I'm using Spotify already and I'm happy with it, and I really have no reason to change to Apple Music or Amazon Prime Music or, well, Google, because I don't even have an Android phone, I might just opt to Spotify. How about you? Let me know down in the comment section. Love to hear what you think. Moving on to some more gadget news. Well, OnePlus, company that you've never heard of, rose to fame by being the opposite of Apple and Samsung. Now it looks like that might be starting to change. And this actually gives us a little bit of a history of OnePlus, so if you guys have no idea who this company is, by the end of it you'll be a little bit more informed, which is the goal here, to keep you guys up current and informed. So if you're like, well, I kept hearing about OnePlus in the news and OnePlus phones here and there and the other way, are they like Samsung, Apple, Google phones and stuff? What's OnePlus? I never heard of one before. Well, here you go. Here's your chance. Listen up. About 5 years ago, a little-known Chinese startup named OnePlus began making big waves in the United States smartphone market, an accomplishment that even large tech firms like Google struggle with today. The company won over Android devotees with its OnePlus One smartphone that boasted slick software and technical specifications fit to rival Apple's and Samsung's devices, but for a fraction of the price. It's a characteristic that still differentiates OnePlus's products from those made by rival tech behemoths, and it's on display with the OnePlus 7 Pro that goes on sale starting today. OnePlus's rise to fame in the US has been astonishing to watch. It didn't spend millions on commercials and billboards, nor did it pay celebrities like Zooey Deschanel and Samuel Jackson to appear in its ads. It didn't sell its smartphones through convenient, well-known channels like Best Buy stores or carrier retail locations either. Instead, it succeeded by taking an approach that appeared to be the exact opposite of what Apple and Samsung were doing. It spent a mere $300 on marketing in its early days, according to Forbes, as it found that the word had begun to spread organically after it purchased a few Facebook ads. And rather than making the OnePlus One easy to buy, it made it nearly impossible possible to get your hands on one by selling it on an invite-only basis. The company said it did this because it had limited inventory of its first product, and it didn't want to overpromise what it could deliver on. Regardless, it turned out to be a clever guerrilla marketing ploy that ratcheted up demand and generated buzz, whether OnePlus intended for it to be that way or not. But the appeal behind OnePlus was about much more than the allure of exclusivity. OnePlus has always positioned itself as being an advocate for the consumer. In an industry dominated by massive corporations like Apple, Samsung, Huawei, OnePlus wanted a customer to feel like the company was on your side. It wasn't trying to overcharge you for unnecessary features or flashy designs. It billed itself as the flagship killer, encouraging customers to never settle, a slogan that the company continues to use today. And that tactic seems to have paid off. When Steve Kovac reviewed the OnePlus One for Business Insider in 2014, he received a barrage of emails from readers asking how to obtain an invite to purchase the phone, an unprecedented response to a smartphone review. The company sold 1.5 million units of its first smartphone across 35 countries, with 1 million of those units being sold within 6 months of the phone's launch, according to the Wall Street Journal in 2015. The company quickly became a tech darling among gadget enthusiasts and the media itself. Now, OnePlus has continued to see significant growth in recent years, but mostly because it began employing more traditional tactics to distribute and promote its products. It now sells smartphones through T-Mobile, and its partnership with the carrier led to a 249% increase in sales of the OnePlus 16 the first 30 days. And what may be the biggest departure from OnePlus's original approach, it recently paid Avengers star Robert Downey Jr., a top-billed actor in one of the most successful movie franchises of all time, to appear in its ads across Asia, as The Verge reported. The move came after OnePlus published a tweet suggesting it did not get its latest OnePlus 7 Pro smartphone IP certified because waterproof ratings make smartphones more expensive. That begs the question as to whether or not the company chose swanky marketing over what's best for the consumer. However, well, keep in mind that this is an opinion piece. The thoughts expressed are those of the author. So, OnePlus continues to deliver on its core promise of providing premium smartphone features without making consumers pay nosebleed prices. But as the company seeks to expand in the US beyond its loyal fan base and faces increased competition, it may have come to terms with the notion that it's starting to look more and more like the flagship smartphone makers it originally sought to dethrone. If that's the case, well, somebody's going to come up and beat them out in own competition, and we'll have more competition going on and hopefully better phones. But not to say that OnePlus isn't a great company. I've looked at the specs of some of their phones. I'd love to be able to review one of them. Quite impressive. I mean, you look at it and then you look at the price and you go, seriously, you could do that for that price? And then Apple goes, well, the reason we had it higher is because of the margins. We wanted to make more money off of it. And it went, well, why did you have to? It didn't cost that much. It really didn't. You could produce it at scale. Google and Apple, you could learn something from this, but OnePlus, just be careful how far you go off, because once you go this route, there is no going back. Alright, moving on to some gaming news. With E3 2019 right around the corner, for those of you who have your Xbox One, here are the games we have confirmed so far. And by the way, we'll have a link to this article in the show notes, as well as a link to all the rest of the articles you can find over at technewsgadget.net/119, and you can go ahead and look at it there. As the days tick by, E3 2019 gets closer. Even though Sony has decided to forego a press conference this year, plenty of other companies will be putting on a presentation to announce what games are coming in 2019 and beyond. Microsoft has a big show planned, and there are rumors the company will reveal its next-gen Xbox console, which isn't to say Microsoft is completely ignoring the Xbox One. On the contrary, quite a few of the games already confirmed will be making their way into Xbox One. We've compiled a full list below and will continue to update it as additional titles are announced prior to and during E3. Other than its rumor next-gen console, Microsoft's biggest planned E3 presentation, based solely on what's been announced, is Halo Infinite. The sixth mainline game in the franchise, Halo Infinite, was first teased during E3 2018. A year later, Halo Infinite game director Chris Lee is scheduled to discuss more details about the game during this year's E3. Little is currently known about what they plan on talking about, but 343 Industries boss Bonnie Ross has teased one of the topics will be Halo Infinite's use of the studio's new Slipspace engine and what's capable of from a technical standpoint. Halo Infinite has been described as a spiritual reboot to the Halo series. The game might have more RPG mechanics than its predecessors too, and its multiplayer and single player may release separately. Though they haven't been confirmed for E3 2019, several other Xbox One console exclusives could show up during the show. Gears 5, Battletoads, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Sea of Solitude, Session, and Tunic, all of which were showcased at last E3, are scheduled to release in 2019. Chances are some, if not all, might pop up at E3 this year. Even if none of those games show up at E3 this year, though, plenty of other games are coming to Xbox One. Some, like Respawn's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Ubisoft's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, are already scheduled to release this year, so chances are we're getting gameplay trailers if you haven't seen them already. Others like Infinite Ward's Call of Duty haven't been officially revealed, so, well, E3 might be the place to announce them as well. So, here's the list that we have so far of the Xbox One games confirmed for E3 2019. Looks like Anthem, Apex Legends, Battlefield 5, Bee Simulator, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty 2019, Cyberpunk 2077, Doom Eternal, Dying Light 2, FIFA 20, Fortnite, Halo Infinite, Monster Hunter World Iceborne, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, The Fisherman Fishing Planet, The Sinking City, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and Trine 4, The Nightmare Prince. So, for those of you looking forward to those games, that's the list that you have right there. We'll know more, obviously, when E3 shows up. Now into some Minecraft news. Oh, why did I have to get to this? I have to cover it because it's interesting tech news. If you don't know about it, I gotta tell you about it. So I'll tell you about it. In a move that's parts surprising, inevitable, and brilliant, Microsoft today, I wouldn't say brilliant, and that's just me. Microsoft today announced Minecraft Earth, an augmented reality game that will let people build all sorts of blocky creations as they're walking down streets and trying not to get hit by cars. It'll be out later this year for phones, with a beta hitting this summer. There's a trailer for Minecraft Earth, which is in the article as well. We won't be looking at that, which is undoubtedly going to take over the world and lead to all sorts of wild stories and speculation. The developers at Mojang say you'll be able to gather resources, build castles, and fight off creepers and other terrifying mobs, just like you can in a real game. Looks kind of rad, although if you go and watch the trailer, you sit there and you look at it and you go, okay, what am I going to be doing? Not to say that it was really any better with the Pokemon Go trailers. It was just kind of cool, fun, and it had augmented reality dropped in along with, real life. And you go, oh, cool, I could have my phone out and you could see this pop up here, this pop up there. Is it going to be like Pokemon Go? Is it going to be something entirely different? Minecraft Earth? How are you going to gather resources? Are you going to have to stand in the middle of the street and sit there and tap the button to mine? Are you going to be like seeing blocks of stuff pop up all over the place and you have to walk over to it and swipe it or something to collect the blocks? For fighting off creepers and other terrifying mobs, is it going to pop up like in an encounter? Or are they just going to show up in real world and start, punching you, and you're going to have to turn your phone around just to see what's going on? I have no idea. I don't know. The trailer leaves a lot to be speculated with. All it shows is somebody, an individual walking around with not even her phone out, and then skateboarding around, and you're like, but you don't have your phone out for any of the points where you're seeing these Minecraft things or creatures popping up. And as for you then building stuff, is this based on a location that you're at? Is it then considered your build? Can other people see your build? See, look, all these questions that I have showing up. I mean, I know the trailer looks flashy, it looks cool, it looks neat, it looks fun, but can you please give us some, I don't know, something tangible? Something that we could go, oh yeah, it looks cool. Oh, I know, how about could you do something like Hytale's trailer did? Beat that, Mojang. Beat that. See, I got my 2 cents in. You didn't think I was. And I did. Suck it, Notch. No, I'm kidding. Okay, I better cut it out. He's officially been probably blacklisted, whitelisted, everything listed in a book, kicked off to his own private island, and he's probably sitting there drunk off martinis, because that's what he did. And now he wants back in, and everybody said, no, you walked away, sellout. Get out of here. So the fun adventures of Minecraft continue. Anyways, I can't wait to move on from this story. Oh, thank you so much for pressing the button. I'm glad I did. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Moving on to our final gaming news of today, Call of Duty Mobile Beta is coming to Android and iOS this week, further intel, and this looks considerably so much better than the blocky renderings they had of Minecraft Earth. So excited to read this. The announcement that one of the most popular PC and console FPS franchises ever would be coming to both Android and iOS is a pretty big deal. Now, fresh intel has come directly from Activision, and oddly enough, they're not going to be presenting or having a booth at E3 this year, which is kind of weird. They are telling us to expect the first Call of Duty mobile beta within the next week. The full title will come with 5 multiplayer modes that include the always popular Team Deathmatch, Solo-only Free-for-all, Frontline, Hardpoint, and Domination. All of these game modes include support for up to 10 players, 5v5, while Free-for-all is set at a maximum of 8. Now, it's a shame that there seems to be no love for the excellent Search and Destroy game mode that was made popular with the first Modern Warfare title. Granted, this mode could be added at a later date, although Search and Destroy might be a little bit difficult with the whole mobile gaming aspect of it, so we'll see. For those of you wondering, Free-for-all is the classic every player for themselves deathmatch. Frontline is after spawning at a team base, defeat players on the opposing team. Team Deathmatch is the classic defeat players on the opposing team mode. Hardpoint is capture and hold the hard point to earn points, and Domination is capture and hold the designated positions to gain points. We're also told that Call of Duty Mobile is set to include 7 maps. Those are Nuketown, Crash, Hijacked, Crossfire, Standoff, Kill House, and Firing Range. It seems like a solid mix of smaller and larger maps, but there are no official word from Activision if we'll be seeing more maps come to the title in the future. As for a streamlined interface, there won't be any standalone single-player mode, so after tapping on the multiplayer mode tile, you'll be brought right into the main menu where your customizable character resides. From this main menu, you're able to check your messages and invites from other players and friends, find and add game friends, look for other players from recent games, as well as contact them via in-game text and voice chat functions. Now, if you look here on the screen, lots of loadouts for options. Activision gave further information on what to expect within the game settings and loadout options. There will be a ton of signature weapons from previous titles within the Call of Duty series, including the Black Ops and Modern Warfare games. Now, like these games, you can fully tweak your loadout to suit your playstyle. That means you can adjust your primary and secondary weapons, associated attachments, skins, and even add perks, like in previous Call of Duty titles. Kill streaks are also making a return, which can be tailored to your own preferences. These include all the classics like Recon Car, UAV, Hunter Killer Drone, Air Supply Drop, Counter UAV, Missile Strike Drone, Sentry Gun, SAM Turret, Stealth Chopper, and VTOL. You're also given the ability to fully customize your own character, with each of the 6 classic in-game characters also making an appearance within the Call of Duty Mobile Beta 2. If they are not your style, you can choose a more anonymous entity, either clad in merc or other tactical combat gear, and customize the headgear, backpack, and clothing to your heart's content. So, the characters we'll be looking at are Alex Mason, David Mason, Thomas Merrick, Simon Ghost Riley, John Soap McTavish, and John Price. Finally, you have 5 loadout slots, which you can name yourself, copy and paste into another slot, and test out across the multiplayer modes and maps. As for granular controls, they've been given further information on the control scheme, which will utilize the gyroscope within your device to help you aim should you wish to use it. One of the differences here when compared to Call of Duty titles on consoles is the ability to choose simple mode or advanced mode for your controls, allowing for more optimization and tweaks based on your phone and how you want to play it. They've been told that the Call of Duty mobile beta will begin this week starting in India, with a further rollout giving Australian gamers the chance to take on the role of popular characters from the series. If you're interested, you can go to callofduty.com/mobile. Hopefully you can sign up and pre-register there. Not sure about the US. Hopefully it is. So go ahead and register there. Super excited. So for you Call of Duty mobile beta fans, you interested? You're going to be playing? You'll go let us know. Post in the comment section down below. It seems exciting. And, man, PUBG here. All I got to say is PUBG is going to probably look at this and go, shoot. Now we got this and that and Fortnite. And what do we do? What do we do? We can't play our games in China. Poor PUBG. See, if you don't innovate, you're going to die. So that's all I can say there. I think I have a hair in my eye or something. I'm going to die. I'm going to poke my eye out, and I'm going to get lead poisoning out of it. Thank you very much. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm probably going to live. Well, that wraps up this episode of the latest in tech news. Thanks for tuning in, guys. New episodes every weekday. Latest in tech news can be found on every major platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Stitcher, Overcast, and more. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to let us know by clicking that like button and leaving a comment. Also, double check that you are subscribed so that you don't miss out on the latest news. I'm your host, Taylor American, for latest tech, gadget, and gaming news. Be sure to visit TechNewsGadget.net. Pretty much keep being awesome, guys. I'll see you on the flip side.